Welcome to the iNetrepreneur Radio Show. We are so honored to bring you your host, the ultimate celebritypreneur, connecting businesses and celebrities worldwide. Winner of the Networking Organization of the Year, best-selling author, magazine publisher, trainer, and owner and founder of Network Together and the iNetrepreneur Media Network for magazines, TV, and radio network. We're excited to bring you your host, Mr. Robert W. Jones.
Well, hi, everyone. Happy Thursday. Welcome to the iNetrepreneur Network. We are glad to be here on air this week. Last week, we had the Art of Connection Summit, and oh my goodness, what a summit it was. We had nearly 200 people come through the day of the event, and we made so many connections. We put out so much information, and quite frankly, we really just shared a lot of love during that event. I have two speakers who are at the event on today's show, and I'm really excited to get to feature them and get to even follow up a little bit about the event so you can learn more about what the Art of Connection Summit can do for you, and the Art of Connection book, which is just right behind me. I have the 365 Days of Networking Quotes. That's our first book, and then our second book, 365 Days of Inspirational Quotes. And we're now working on the third book, 365 Days of Transformational Quotes. And certainly you can reach me through the radio network to get some more information on that. Just want to make sure that I go through a little bit of housekeeping here. Again, with the book, we did receive on the first two books #1 international best-selling status, and I'm sure we're going to receive that again on our third book, the 365 Days of Transformational Quotes. You can use the coupon code of AOC to get your early bird special of $197 off the regularly priced reserve date of $550. Such a deal. And we're in our closeout pricing, so we're starting to run out of pages. So if you really want to be an international best-selling author and be housed with a work in the Library of Congress, please get on that right now. We still have pages left, but they are going very, very fast, and we want you to be a part of this community. Also, I want to bring up that we have the early promotion of the Unchain Yourself Women's Professional Conference. It is on Zoom. It's October 20th from 9 to 5 PDT. That's the Pacific time frame. And right now, being in Arizona, we're so crazy. We only stay in one time zone. So we always say half the year we're on California time, and the other half of the year we're on Mountain Standard Time. But the last women's event that we had over 150 women and a few good men at that event. It was a live in-person event. But again, this one will be on Zoom. So no matter where you are, as long as you're up and able, come join us. And that means men too. I believe me, men that come to the women's events, tend to be superstars themselves, because the women really appreciate the support from each and every man that comes, to these conferences, whether in person or live. I also want to remind everyone that we also have ntevents.net. That's ntevents.net. That's our quick link that gets you to all of the happenings in the iNetrepreneur Network. That's summits, that is academy classes, that's our pop-up events, that's the Women's Unchained event, that's interviewing panels, our chapters, etc. Go there. We have over 1,000 opportunities each and every year through the NT events for you to make connections. Like us at our Facebook page, subscribe to our 2 magazines, and that's what's really cool. We have the iNetrepreneur magazine, which celebrates our speakers and other entrepreneurs in our community, and also we have the new magazine called The Contemporary Woman, and The Contemporary Woman highlights women who are rock stars in the entrepreneurial community, but also we highlight a few good men who support our women. So I love that magazine, and I think that you should too. So I am so excited. I'm going to get on with the show now. That's a little bit about what's going on in the iNetrepreneur Network. And I am going to bring on my first guest, and her name is Emmie Saavedra from the Champions Institute. How are you, Emmie?
Wonderful, Robert. Great to be here again. Always a pleasure.
It's always a pleasure. And, what I love about relationships is, over time you get a deeper understanding, a deeper perspective, and many times if it's a very true relationship, I think a deeper heartfelt bond with that other person. you tend to work harder, work longer, and we look forward, to being with them each and every time, they're on air or in the room or even, texting each other. So I'm glad that you're here today. Everyone, Emmie Saavedra is a co-founder and president of the Champions Institute. She's also a bank trainer, which I've learned so much from, I have to admit, Emmie. She's a master connector, author, and speaker, and you can reach her at Emmie at tcichampions.com or call her at 623-340-2870. Maybe we can make a song out of that with the numbers like the YMCA. I think that might be kind of a cool thing to do. But Andy, I'm glad that you're here today. A couple of things I want to really, talk to you a little bit about, you know, your background just a little bit, because a lot of people kind of know the right now, Emmie, but you also have a long history of being in the medical profession, most definitely in the dental area, but you've utilized that to platform yourself into such higher endeavors. But tell us a little bit about your background in the dental genre, and what have you learned from that environment that you can apply to your entrepreneurial journey now?
Oh, perfect question. So, yeah, not many people know, but I was born and raised in a family of all entrepreneurs. And the last thing I wanted to do growing up was to be an entrepreneur, Robert. So I went to nursing, became a registered nurse, came to this country. So I worked in the healthcare industry for 32 years. And so at that time, I married my
Emmie,
husband.
32 years? I mean, you're barely 32 years old, right?
Thank you. That's
you're
anti-aging.
you're welcome. We're going backwards at this point, right?
Thank you. Yeah, some people sometimes we age like fine wine or we age like vinegar. So you pick. I choose fine wine.
I will choose that for you as well. But sorry to interrupt. It just blows my mind. 32 years of
I
a
know,
background in dental. Yeah, go ahead.
right? And so I married my husband as an orthodontist. So at the present day, we've been in the dental industry, orthodontics specifically, for the last 18 years. So what I learned about that is that I did all the marketing for 6.5 years for our 4 offices. And at that time, what I really learned is that it really doesn't matter what industry you're at. There's so many foundational elements that applies to every business, every relationship across the board, Robert. And so the one of the main thing is that if you can master relationships and building relationships, connecting with people and maximizing your own communication skill set, then you win. And because that's really attributed to the success of when I was in marketing, we grew our practice referrals by 50% in the first year. That's huge in the industry. So, right. And so to which I say, what I learned was that personal growth and development is a huge must if you want to succeed and be a winner and an influencer. Number 2, go out there and practice your skills every day and never, ever, ever be discouraged. You might get a little stung sometimes, but Robert, it really has to be what propels and motivates us instead of making us surrender and retreat.
Well, and it's really interesting about, being in dental or being orthodontics. A lot of times, I mean, people have a fear of going to a dentist or sitting, and having braces done, or what will I look like? And a lot of times we don't talk about that. We always think of the end product, and we get sold to have the brighter teeth, have the straighter mouth, have that perfect look, as you may. But as entrepreneurs, and I know this firsthand, a lot of us don't really practice a lot of self-care, and some of the things that we actually don't do is actually take care of the caretaking of our mouth and gums, don't we? Isn't that true?
Oh, totally, because you and I are nurturing. Nurturers always take care of others first over ourselves, but isn't the human factor as well, right? Unless unless you don't have anybody else that is in your framework, we totally is all about others first and then us, which we're going to reverse now, right, Robert? You just mentioned it. Let's reverse that.
We are, and I always feel like sometimes being a nurturer, we're the last ones that also know our values, so we're the last ones that really make the true worth of what we should be, making, even monetarily in addition to our energy, but that's something that you help do. with your background in dental, and a lot of people think, being a dentist, they just make, lots of money, but it's also creating trusted relationships. It's also creating, great customer service, and it's having, and nurturing people that they feel like, hey, this is the place that I want to go back to. But we can learn a lot about that from entrepreneurs. Even Warren Buffett said, companies succeed and become great not because they're the most innovative necessarily, but they provide the best experience. And I think that that's what you help do from your long histories. You help entrepreneurs understand part of creating the best experience is also understanding what makes people tick. And I think that you help do that with the bank process, don't you?
We do, and we use the bank process in every one of our programs, whether it's for sales acceleration or for leadership mastery communication. We use the bank methodology because it's the swiftest, the fastest, and it's highly functional in seconds, right? Like
Mhm.
you just need some, that is really the speed of it. And so communication is the DNA of really living.
Yeah, and I agree. And I think that's something that you and I have talked about. We haven't brought onto the show before, and I really want to dive into this. It's really about creating, isn't it? When you're an entrepreneur, when you're a person of the community, when you have family and friends, life really is about mastering our life with intention, isn't it? You
Oh,
know,
totally.
intention is a powerful thing, and I think a lot of times when we sit down and we work with the people that we love in our life, we want to sit down with them and talk about, what does your life of intention look like? Quite frankly, what are you creating in life that leaves a certain amount of legacy, whether it's for yourself or for your business or even so much more. Talk about how you help business owners, create more intention in their life.
Yeah, so really good, right? Robert, you touch a point. A lot of times people don't even ask the question on themselves. And the beauty of who and I are is that we ask these questions because we're really interested in the other person. So in our Champions Institute, the core philosophy is always, always empowering the source, which is the person himself. We want that because when we can empower that person into really getting clear of who they are, being aware and in full consciousness of how they are landing on other people, and knowing what opportunities and accessibilities they have, then we have a really great chance at assisting those individuals step into their greatness. And that's really who we are, Robert. You and I are the light that can shine on where the places in the corners are darker, because that's who we are. So let's be that. That's how we are, that's the culture of our company. Aside from having integrity and aside from making sure that everybody wins. Okay,
you
so
know and
that's good.
Absolutely, and why when I talk about intention, especially within business, and we talk about this on the show before, it's, I believe that everyone is given gifts, that we're all given, gifts
Mhm.
from God, and it's just, our journey is to actually provide and create the best paths to be able to offer our gifts to others, and I think that that's part of what you do as well, is you help create the intentions that help pave the roads of, for your clients and customers, so to speak. And when
Mhm.
you do that, I always look at it this way. If you look at your path and it's dirt, versus gravel versus being paved, etc., your movement, the acceleration of your business and yourself can go, so much faster. And I think that that's what intention is. Intention helps people set up, the roadmap of success, because they start to see how they can pave their paths. Wouldn't you agree with that's what Champions Institute does?
Oh, totally, 100%. When the intention is clear and close by, that really fuels up. That's like the gasoline. That's the fuel that really push us, like propels us forward for sure.
Yeah, and and the other thing too is like, sometimes I've even found that, working with people, um, and you kind of go down to the deeper meat of things, and part of what you do is you want to make sure that it aligns with the values, those core values, and the passions and the energy drivers, because sometimes you have to have that serious conversation to say, we understand that you may want to be an entrepreneur, but maybe other life pursuits are better for you. I mean, you also have those tough conversations too, don't you, Emmy?
Oh, totally. Don't we, right? That's really what we encourage too, Robert, because whatever it is, it has to resonate with the spirit, with your
Hmm.
soul, with your heart, resonate it, because the brain can really lie to us and you can't rely on the brain all the time. It's a processor, it's a computer. So look deeper into your heart because the heart will not lie to you.
Yeah. You know, when it comes to people and they're going through the personal sales process with each other and utilizing bank, utilizing self-development programs, just utilizing awareness, what are a couple of things that a person can do, they can implement right now to maybe help them get to the point of understanding so they can serve that other person, and quite frankly, I don't say it's a bad word, to actually sell to that other person. What are some things that we could implement right now? A little Jedi mind trick or something? No, it's all for good, that people can use that they might not be using right now.
Well, the number one thing is to really, number one, get educated, get access to the resources. You have the books, you have the technology, and above all, get yourself trained. The training takes only 4 hours to get you into the in-depth, into the intensive part, the deep dive into 4 personality types. Once you get trained, you have now the knowledge. And then after the knowledge, we at the Champions Institute help you, assist you in applying them, implementing them throughout the whole process of 60 to 90 days. So we walk everybody hand in hand, Robert. This is what
Hmm.
we say, done with you, and let's do it together. Together we rise. That is really our tagline. So that's how we do it.
But sometimes it's like people get the right education and it's just, but they still need to move, they still have to have the energy to go on it. And,
Mhm.
I've talked about this before. I tell our membership, there's that equation that says aptitude plus attitude gets your altitude. But I always felt like it was incomplete. I feel like it's attitude plus aptitude plus your appetite, your passion gets you to that altitude. How do you help those people who may not have the appetite because of you know in the limiting thoughts, let's say, or a disbelief, or they're hard on themselves, or maybe they just haven't had that success before? What do those conversations look like?
Well, the number one thing really, Robert, right, is to be interested in the other person because
Hmm.
you want to build trust. When trust is built, the other person will tell you and share with you what's really in the way. And they are also in position to receive what you are asking and inquiring. So, number one thing is to really build a connection. And until you get to the core of the other person, what are really in the ways that whether they know or not know, that is your access to transformation. So we start with that conversations, building trust, and having empathy. This is where emotional resilience, intelligence comes in. When the other person perceived you as somebody who's really out for them, they're being their champion, they will come out of their shell. They'll put down all their walls of protectiveness because then they trust you. They know that you are here for them. So let's get
And
that. Mhm.
yeah, and you bring up something which I think has been really fascinating because business has evolved so much in the last decade. And you know especially when I was younger, I mean, I did not think that, let's say, intuition, had a place in business. But, I found over the past decade, what I found is this intuition, you know, is that, you know, place, that cornerstone of business. And, I found, you could call it, the gut, you could call it, someone putting a download into you, you could talk about all these different things. But we human beings, we're entrepreneurs are human beings. I mean, I hate to break it to everyone, but all entrepreneurs are human beings. We have so much more awareness than we know we have. Sometimes we just have to be able to practice this awareness, don't we?
Yes, and be with people
Yeah.
who truly are respectful and honoring that part of us, right? Always be with those people because this is what I love about you and Sean, Robert, because you get it. And when you get it, you're the way you practice in your business, the ethics and everything that comes along with it resonates with what is goodness and greatness, right? And so absolutely, 100% again. I cannot say otherwise.
Well, and like, some of the conversations that you and I talk about is, what makes some people succeed, you know, at a greater level than other people. And, there's certain attributes, that have that, it's, what you said earlier, it's like having the strength to ask. It's being able to engage without impedance. It's, being open to understanding. It's seeking first to understand, then to be understood. But we could go on and on. What are some qualities that you found that just make really successful business people?
Well, number one, right, is having the faith in yourself, faith in your source, and the source of your power. If you can really tap into you, that will build up confidence. And there's nothing sexier in any business transaction than confidence. Confidence with humility. You know what they say about that, Robert? Humble confidence. And this is what makes every coach consultant be super successful. And clients will close themselves when they get that from you, that you're out for them.
Well, and that's where it's kind of like I like to put it into practice as well. And this is where I get all hyped up. I'm like, come on, people, we got to get this, because they hear it. It's like, well, you said it's faith and you say it's confidence, and I hear those words, but I don't believe you. But like, say, well, let's put this into practice. Let's say that you're attempting to grow your business, and you know what, one great way to grow your business is cold calls. But oh my goodness, I can't do cold calls. Well, if you have the faith that out of every 100 people that you will attract 2 additional clients or 4 additional clients. If you put out there, I have the faith that out of every 100 calls, guess what? You're going to gain just a little bit of momentum, maybe, to start saying, I can do this. But then if you add the confidence of saying, I've practiced the right words, I've done the right scripts, I'm doing the skill set. See, and I think that that's what we talk about. Part of having faith is putting your intention out there, and believing that you can get there. Part of having the confidence is working with other people who leave great clues to help you with your confidence to get there. And that's what I mean is if you're lacking of faith, that's where the heart set comes in. If you're lacking of confidence, that's where your mindset comes in. And that's what the Champions Institute does. It helps people block through those barriers so they can start seeing that, they don't have to point to someone else anymore. You help people actually point to themselves, in their greatness, because at the end of the day, right, Emmy, it doesn't come from somewhere else. It actually comes from within, doesn't it?
Totally, totally. And then, another part of what you said is truly important. Faith in what? Faith that your product and service that you're sharing is actually helping someone with their day, with their business, with their life. Is having faith in what you're sharing. And number two, right? Like, what makes people successful and having the confidence is really knowing that, and that you're out to serve others. It's not about you. When you're out to serve others, there's no fear, there's no hesitation, because that's who you are being, is being of service. So that in itself, so check in quite a bit with you. Check in with you, know thyself. And if not, ask people, reach out to others, right? Robert, you're here all the time. I'm here all the time. And this is what makes us so, incredible, is because of our generosity and giving heart and the faith in you, because a lot of times you have less faith in you than others see in you. So be with people who can make the transformation happen for you.
And I think that that's what's so powerful about having a coach or coaching, because
Mhm.
you're able to seek and understand things from 2 ends. When you're coaching someone, sometimes you have to fill in the gaps to make sure it keeps you very vibrant from a skill set standpoint, because you don't want to let that person down. And then when you're being coached by someone, they also see maybe the blind spots that you have. And I think we all should be coaching someone and be coached by someone, because we learn something, at both ends, don't we?
Totally. And to be coached entails humility. Because guess what? We don't know it all, trust me. And the greatest people in the world go to their grave still wondering what is it that they still need to learn, because we all know that we don't ever can have everything to know.
Yeah, no, absolutely. One of the things that I like, and I think somehow we need to create this and make it deeper, maybe even a class out of it. One of
Mhm.
the things that you communicate is loving leadership. And, it really got me, thinking about that. I mean, one of the things I don't hear very often is love and then leadership.
Mm.
Love and then leadership. Now, I hear leadership and it's placed in front of me in many different ways, but love isn't one of the things that I hear very often. Quite frankly, I never really have ever heard of that. So, tell us a little bit about your insight on, what loving leadership looks like to you, and how and why is that so powerful in today's business climate?
Well, isn't love the end all and be all, seriously, of what we all do? If you want to be a great leader, you serve. And where does the heart of the service come from? It's from the love of another human being and what we're here for. So if you peel away all the layers into what really makes us happy and fulfilled and joyful, it all ties back down to love. And so practice love, and the world will actually love you back.
Mhm.
And love, meaning to say, Robert, it's not called unconditional love. It's really about unconditional acceptance. When you can accept anything and everything, there is love there. So it goes beyond and over. Love people
Mhm.
for even their flaws. Love people even for what they've done to you that does not sit very well. Just love them, because to me, they're children of God and they're just as flawed as everybody else. So just love them anyway and bless them
Well,
and bless
and
love.
I think a lot of loving leadership has to do with really elemental things.
Mhm.
It's giving some time, it's giving of knowledge, it's giving of space, and it's promoting and showing edification. It's doing a lot of the things short of intimacy that creates bonds. And I think that loving leadership at the end of the day is actually a new way of looking at leadership in such a way where from top down and from down up, what you're really doing is you're weaving bonds with everyone in that community or that organization so they start to become better as a unit. And that's what I look at loving leadership is. It's a way to create a fabric or a culture that is expressive, in the same voice. And that's leadership, and that the bonds of with each other. And I think that you've tapped into something with loving leadership. But you also do other things. Just tell a little bit about, like, what the Champions Institute authors, its clients, some of the programs they have and who you help most, because I love, how you guys have grown and have you expanded with all your authoring for entrepreneurs.
Yeah, so the one thing that we are very, very proud of and really grateful for inside the Champions Institute is really the team. So
Hmm.
in any business, Robert, you know that it's really the people who can drive your business. And so number one, we pride ourselves in having the best group of people who complement each other. And that again entails the art and mastery of communication, right? How to enroll them in. And so inside the Champions Institute, the word itself, we want to create a world of champions who lead with love, courage, and excellence. So how do we do that? We are a training, coaching, consulting company, and we teach everybody in elevating themselves inside sales and leadership through powerful and masterful communication. So, and as we grow, Robert, you've seen us coming from the inception to the birth of it and where we're at now. So this month and next month, we're driving all our focus into building the dental programs that we have to increase profitability in partnership with them. And then our future design is always about being specific with the different industries, because every industry has their own specific, distinctive conversation domain. So we're talking about the healthcare industry. We're talking about direct sales, which is really close to my heart. And then
Yeah.
we're talking about the solopreneurs, the entrepreneurs, the business owners, the SMB, small to medium-sized businesses, which is the core of this country. So let's support them. And so we do all that through training and the implementation of everything learned hand in hand, piece by piece.
Well, and what's interesting is it really goes back to, something that businesses all had, and that was that the human resources, part
Mhm.
of the organization. And that's where you would work for a company and you'd have so much training every month, on becoming a better employee, becoming a better supervisor, becoming a
Mhm.
better, boss, officer or leader. And, that's something that's kind of missing in our organizational construct. And I think that you provide, a great place, and you're bringing that back, that you can have fractional COOs and fractional CFOs. But I think that what you guys are doing is you've created a space for a fractional CAO. That's the Chief Achievement Officers, and
Yes.
so I think that you guys are rocking it out there. I have your information scrolling across the screen, you
Yeah.
CAOU. I have Emmie Saavedra, co-founder and president of the Champions Institute, bank code trainer. What other ways can people find you, Emmie?
Well, go to the website, right? Everything's there. Call me anytime. That is my mobile number. You have access to that. And then, how else? Get in touch with Robert Jones and Sean Jones of I'm an Entrepreneur, right? And so this is really, we're all here. You can find us everywhere in Facebook, in LinkedIn, in Instagram. And we're a stand for you wherever you're at in life. We are here for you. And that is from my mouth to God's ears to all your ears. We're
Well,
here for you.
Emmie, I can't wait. I'm going to see you tomorrow. We are going to be, and I know it's short notice, everyone. We are going to be in Scottsdale, Arizona at Grimaldi's. It's 4000 North Scottsdale Road in Old Town, Scottsdale. We are going to be doing an INET Connect. An INET Connect is 5 to 6 questions in 5 to 6 minutes, and getting answers from 5 to 6 awesome people. So if you're around that area, come visit Emmie and I, and let's make some great connections. Emmie, thank you so much for being on the show today. You are a rock star. I love having you on here, and each and every time. And you know what? And I don't know. I even made up another one. I have the CLO. You're the Chief Love Officer. So
Okay.
we're gonna make a whole another suite of initials out there on our soup box. What do you think?
I'm all for it. Anytime, Robert, you have a place in the Champions Institute, always a high chair.
Well, again, thank you so much,
You're
Emmie.
welcome.
You're a delight. And you know what? Let's do this again sometime. Don't be a stranger.
Never, ever, promise.
I love that little thing. I don't know about you, but I think that is the coolest little thing that goes across there. It just sums up everything that we do at the iNetrepreneur Network. And I'll say it and I'll say it and I'll say it again. Every entrepreneur needs a place to go so they can grow. I was just with Emmie Saavedra. She's co-founder and president of the Champions Institute, bank trainer, master connector, author, and speaker. And each and every time I just learn a little bit more. And I think today we have a whole new C-suite of designations that Emmie, I'm going to be doing that with you. So we need to come out with these things because I think they're pretty darn cool. Well, I have another guest today, and I'm really excited about bringing in him. And his name is Mac. Hey, Mac, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Happy to be here. How are you
Well,
doing?
Hey, I'm doing pretty good. I'm happy to be here too. I hope you got to listen in on Emmie and I a little bit. She's a rock star, isn't she?
Yeah, she's wonderful. I took
Oh,
the bank code test. It was great.
yeah, I know. And it was what's so incredible is before when we were in the green room before the show started, how we compared all our codes, and all of our codes are the same.
Yeah.
We all have that appetite and that heart to help each other, and I think that that's why we gravitate towards each other. Well, I'm with Makram. He's co-founder of DareDev. I call him an under 31 to watch. So watch out, everyone. He's a business connector, software developer, and marketer. You can reach him at Makram Jreissat at gmail.com, or call him at 602-535-6137. Again, I'm here with the co-founder of DareDev. Actually, I'm going to start with that. DareDev, why did you come up with DareDev as the name of your organization?
I mean, development is as a scary thing, I guess, to do. And so it's kind of like, do you dare to dev with us? Do you dare to take that step to get into the digital world and take your online presence to another level?
Well, I mean, and we're not just talking a digital level of like say even a web 2.0. I mean, we're talking an app which is residing on the phone with just a tap away, right?
Right. So you can make whatever you want, any kind of app, any type of thing that will connect you more with your customers, connect you more to not even just your customers. You can create an entire community on that app.
Oh man. Well, Mac, you haven't been on the show before, and every first timer that comes on the show, I usually like to go backwards before I go forwards. And you and I have gotten to talk a little bit, and I had a tremendous conversation, and I was able to talk about a lot of my life when I was going to college, and meeting friends from all around the world, and then I learned that you're actually from Jordan. And I thought that that was the coolest thing, because when I was in college, I had a lot of friends that were from Jordan and Palestine, Saudi Arabia, all coming, overseas and studying at the college. And I remember us talking about that, and I said, oh my goodness, that's the first time I ever had like rose, tea. And it's the first time I ever, knew what a hookah was. And, there's all these different things in this, this great food. And I remember, it's like, gosh, when you're in that community, I learned a lot about community, and you're trusted. I mean, you're in and you're family, and that's really how it is to be Jordanian, isn't it, Mac?
Yeah, 100%. We're all about hospitality, getting people together, loving each other, really accepting one another. And then we love to party hard. One of the biggest things is we love to party. We love to make a celebration out of anything. You got a good grade, celebration. You got your first salary paycheck, celebration.
But what's really interesting, like I'm I'm Hispanic, and I'm also Anglo, and I'm not Jordanian, I'm not Palestinian, I'm not Saudi Arabian, I'm not from Lebanon or Iran, or anywhere. But what I found was really neat is you guys really got to the heart of matter, and really saw me. You know,
Yeah.
and that was the difference. And I'm getting a tear in my eye just thinking about it. I can't even believe I'm emotional on it. And I remember it was just like, what an incredible, group of individuals. And sometimes I feel like, we hear what the nations do and are sometimes. But, I always say, there's the nations, and then there's the people. And I have to admit that that was the closest I'd ever been, to any group, of individuals outside my own family, and that's why when you said you were from Jordan, it was like I immediately gravitated towards you, because I just it just brought back those memories of, oh my God, and the food. Oh my goodness. I
Our
could
food
never,
is the
like,
best.
there was always food. It was like if I wasn't eating, and I had to eat, because I felt like if I didn't eat, they would never, I'd never be invited back. So at any rate, and I'm bringing this up for a purpose, and and the purpose is, I think no matter what we do in life, whether you're an accountant or a landscaper, or you do software development, I think basically everything boils down to relationships. And I think that that's what you have, is you have this you have this lineage of family and friends and culture, of relationships that helped shape you. Tell us a little bit about what you've learned, from your culture, your family and relationships, that's brought you here to the United States and has helped you develop really deep relationships rather quickly with the people here in Phoenix, Arizona.
So I actually came here when I was 5 years old or so. So um, was born there, came here when I was 5. My parents brought me, and I was raised here. But I would always visit there every 2 years or
Hmm.
so. I would go there, visit, and I always had an experience of both cultures. I would go to the culture over there. I would see how they would act. I would come to the culture over here. I would see how they would act here, and it just felt strange because I would see all these different perspectives on different various topics, and I would just understand people a lot better. I would say, oh wow, this person acts this way because of this reason, and then I go to Jordan and I'm like, oh wow, they act this way because of this reason. And then you see like I grew up and there was like a lot of bullying and things like that, but like they would have this perception of Jordanians and Jordanians would have this perception of Americans, and they would both be wrong because they've never met each other. But I've met both and they're
Right.
both wonderful people. And so you start getting more understanding, more perspective, more different mentalities, I guess, even, and where you're able to connect with the people on a deeper level because of this. Like I get the benefits of both sides. I get the hospitality from Jordan, the respect, the the values, all this other stuff, and then
The
from
food.
the food for sure. I love food. I love eating.
Yep.
But like, and then from here, there's more open-mindedness, more accepting to new ideas, more innovation, more like all these other things that are unique to America, freedom even.
Yeah.
So you just see these two different things and you mesh them together, and I just took the best of both worlds.
Yeah, and maybe that's another thing that ties me to Emmy. It ties me to you, and being Hispanic, and then partly Anglo, and actually I have Chinese way back in my background. Um, and I think even being in two type of a dominant culture and a subculture within the United States, I got to be in two different communities, just even in here. And I think you're right. I think that there's a certain amount of comparison and contrast that allows you to improvise, adapt, and overcome, with any culture. And knowing that, I think that acceptance allowed me to accept others much faster, which you have as well. And I think in business nowadays, since we are, do we live local? Yes. But do we business global? Absolutely. And I think that that's what really, creates such a special place for you, because you're able to kind of, work in both worlds. You have a global of perspective, but you also have a heart for the local area that you're in. Tell us a little bit about how you came up with DareDev, and why did you have an appetite for helping the small business?
So this is a fun story. Um, I was actually in Jordan for another business mine. My previous startup, uh, I was planning to do it, and like it was a big thing and everything, and I was like excited. And I had a co-founder of mine. He's my current co-founder for DareDev, but he was my
Yeah.
co-founder for the last company. I just spent 10 months in Jordan. I just was there. We were working, and then there was another co-founder that just out of the blue ghosted us, and I was like, oh no,
Mm.
I got to go back to America. I got to I want to do something else. Like I'm not gonna be stuck in my rut. I'm gonna move on. And then my cousin, right before I left, was like, hey, look, if you get any software projects from America, we have an entire labor force. Because in last year in the summer, it was 50% unemployment rate in Jordan.
Oh, wow.
50%, 50.
Mm.
And so he said, we got, he's a PhD holder, computer engineer, like all this, like project manager. And so he's like, we'll get the software done. You go over there, you get us projects, and we'll both benefit. It's cheaper labor costs over here. You'll give them more affordable services over there, and everyone wins. And so that's how DareDev ended up coming about.
So it's kind of like you went over there for one thing, and all of a sudden it just spun around to something
Right.
else. Then, and I mean, I think so much of the time, especially in the infancy stage or the development stages of business, that happens. Because quite frankly, it's the marketplace that really dictates the viability of the innovation and idea, isn't it?
Right, 100%. And if this marketplace accepts this product, this service, this whatever, you're going to grow. And if they
Yeah.
don't, you're just going to stay where you are, or you might have to close down. You just got to adapt to the marketplace and overcome any obstacle that comes your way.
Yeah, and it's really kind of tricky terrain. I think that we've gotten to the point in at least in the United States, or at least maybe in Arizona, where every business owner really believes that they need to have a website. And websites, they're like soda pops. They come in all sorts of varieties and flavors, and from good to terrible. But businesses we're also starting to come into this whole new pioneering area where really large companies, well, they have all the apps, but as technology changes, as applications start to mature a little bit, as more people are coming into the marketplace, I mean, there really is more access for what Emmy called the SMBs, the small to mid-sized businesses, to also have access to apps as well. Tell me if I'm off my rocker, or if I'm right about that.
Yeah, so you look at any big company, you look at McDonald's, Albertsons, Safeway, Fry's, like literally any big company right now, you see that they have a mobile app. And there's a reason
Yeah.
for that. They have their discounts on there, they have new updates, they have notifications, they're always trying to retain their customers and get them coming back. Websites are not able to do that. Websites get the first look, that's what a website does. But an app, if you get them to download an app, you have full access to notifying them, to contacting them, always having them there, maybe giving them new features, getting them attached to your brand, because that's the most important thing. Trust and loyalty. And if they're loyal to your brand because you keep giving more features and you keep giving them more benefits and you keep giving them more things, they're definitely going to stay loyal to you.
Yeah, and I look at it this way, and I think this is how I talk to people about websites versus apps. I mean, it's like, it's really easy to get rid of a website. You just don't go there anymore.
Right.
But the thing is once you download the app, I mean, it's here, it's in my phone. That thing's not going anywhere. So I'm scrolling past, I'm looking for a bank app, or I'm looking for a communication app, or I'm looking like for, a self-care app, and all of a sudden I see another app. What does that mean? It means it's always continually top of mind, because quite
Right.
frankly, it's only a tap away, right?
100%. And to remove it, even to remove the app, you gotta like hold it, and then you gotta click X, and you're like, are you sure you want to uninstall? Yes, I'm sure. Like it's a process, and you got to be like very committed to uninstalling before you uninstall. I have apps I haven't used in forever. I just scroll like this left and right, or a swipe left and right, and I see it, and I'm like, oh, it's right there. I don't uninstall it, but it reminds me of that brand.
It reminds, yeah, I know it, and it's like the craziest thing, and but then there's also the good side of it. Someday something happens, and all of a sudden there's that one special, and I've seen the app there. I haven't used it for 6 months, and it comes in on a notification, and then well, there's my app. Boom, and I'm
Right.
clicking on it. All of a sudden, I'm sucked into another app. So,
Right.
I
Or
mean,
even, oh, sorry, keep going.
yeah, go ahead.
Even like it says, like you haven't been to us in a month, or you haven't used the app in a month, or whatever. Here's a 60% off discount code, or 50% off discount code,
Yep.
and they bring you
Oh,
back into buy and buy and buy. And
yeah, yep. And then, then you have like, apps that like solicit apps, and all of a sudden it's like, don't, get this product for only 10% on the dollar, get this license free for life, and all that. It's like, it really is a wonderful place, if you can get that, but again, like apps like websites, they're again, apps are like, soda. They all come in all different shapes and sizes, and flavors and whatnot, and all apps aren't, made equally, but one of the things that I like about what you do with DareDev is, you know you use your personality, you use your nurturing, you use your appetite for understanding a person's business before you even make a move at starting the app, don't you?
100%. We start with a free business consultation. We look at your entire business. We see your website. We see what you're trying to do, what your ambitions are, and we see if we're even a good fit for you. Because if we're not a good fit for you, I don't want you to waste your money building an app. I love money, but like I love you benefiting from your purchases more so than I love money.
Yeah,
And so,
I mean, to me, there's nothing worse than an unhappy client because you sold them on something and they don't like it because
right,
it feels like, you can't do anything else, because that client is going to be like right there, like an app.
right. I've already like when I've had a client and I would tell them like, no, you're not ready for an app right now. You are not ready. You need to first take these steps, 1, 2, 3. And once you take these steps, then you come to me and you say, build us an app. But I don't want you to spend this amount of money and waste your money. And then later you say, oh man, I wish I didn't spend that money.
Yeah, I am, I am a firm believer in language, and I really want to get kind of go with this. One of the questions that people like to ask is, what makes your company different from all the other companies? And we tend to answer that, but I think all companies are different. So there's always the ability to say, well, my company's different because, well, we put more into our clients, or, well, we spend more money, or, well, we develop longer, or, what, our cat looks more beautiful than your cat. All companies have some distinguishing factor. I think the better question is, what makes your company matter to the businesses that want to utilize your services? I think that's the question that we should be asking, because I know that your company is different, but why does your company matter to me?
Well, because we focus on small businesses and startups, we know that they don't have a lot of money on hand. So we're trying to give them the most affordable rates, which is why we have a global team. We have a team in Jordan, and we structure the team in such a way that it'll reduce costs as much as possible, so we can provide you the best service for the least amount of cost. So like a project that might cost like $10,000 might cost you with us like 2,000 or something like that. We try to match the price of a freelancer, but give you all the benefits of an entire company, whether that's front end, back end, graphic design, content, you name it, we have it. And so
But you know
we try to give you that.
Yeah, and see, the other thing too is I believe that conversations, they're established at every level, and you know you're into this space. You are hungry. You're creating businesses, you're launching businesses, you're making teams, and that's what I like. I mean, as a business owner myself, you know doesn't it matter too that the person that sits across from me, is that decision maker, is that person that has that appetite for growth, is the one that's motivated to put energy into me. You energy match with me, and I think that that's something else that we don't put enough, I would say, like, credence into, matching the energy with those that we work with. And see, that's why it's like, I feel like, your company is the one that needs to be referred, because it's the start a company. It's like to even fail at the company and then come back and start another company. Those things matter to me more than anything else, is because, you're the guy that, when you get knocked down, or if you come into the problem, you don't give up. You get in and get
Right.
on. And I think that that's, something that I really love watching about you too. But it's not just the technology. I mean, you understand marketing as well, and you understand, local areas, and how to, talk that language that gets people to say yes. Tell us a little bit about, you know um, you know going back to the two different cultures and being able to kind of adapt, kind of like a bigger vision, for people than what they even have.
Yeah. So when I look at any business or look at any ambition, I try to look at, will this not only work for your business, but will it work for your future goals? Like,
Hmm.
is this going to lead you to point A, which is right over here, or will it lead you point A or point B that is all the way up here? Like, I want the maximum amount of growth. So if we're looking at a product together, we're looking at another an app for you, a website, service, benefit, whatever. I'm going to look at it and say, look, if you add this one feature right here, it'll benefit your clients tremendously, and you'll grow like crazy. Or I try to give that out. And try to look at their vision and try to build off of that and give them more ideas for a better future.
Well, and the other thing I think that you do as well, it's not just, creating a better app for the people that use it. It's also creating an app that the business itself will use, because there's nothing worse than creating the software or a system, put it into the place and you implement it and then you train them and they never use it again. I
Right.
mean, I think one of the things that I've seen in you is, your goal is not just to create, affordable apps for small business owners. Your goal really is to create apps for small business owners that will actually use the app, right?
Right. There's a lot of like non-techie owners, business owners, and founders, and they some of them are better with technology, some of them aren't. But at the same time, I want to make it as simple as possible. I want to sit down with them and say, look, this is the app we built, but let me walk you through it step by step. This is your dashboard. This is what you do with it. This is how you tell your clients about it. This is what it can do for them. And I really walk them through the whole process to make sure that they get it. And then if they ever have any problems, to just call me back, message me. I'm always there for them.
Yeah, I mean, and because I think that that's the most important thing is utilizing apps to their fullest capability, not limiting the apps because the user is afraid of it. And I think that sometimes, with technology, for a lot of owners, who have never had experience, with apps before, or what role they would play in the business, because for some $2,000 is a great expense. For some $2,000 isn't much of an expense at all.
Right.
But at the end of the day, you're in the business of creating the relationships that create the confidence that you're there to serve them as they grow as well, correct?
100%. I know I've said 100% a million times,
Yeah.
but it's like everything you're saying is completely true. Like we're here to tell them that don't be afraid of technology. Technology will make your life better. That reminds me of when I was working in my brother's company. I was managing it. They were using a lot of like old technologies or technologies that weren't suited for the jobs that they were trying to do. And so I came in. I said, hey, look, stop using Excel. Use this program. Stop using WhatsApp. Use Slack, and stop using
Right.
this one. Use this one, and it increased the business. Like, you have no idea how more efficiently the business became. How more efficient the business became after all these technological changes that came in. And at first, everyone was resistant to change. This is normal for
Yeah.
every person. Every person that's used to the old ways, they want to stay with the old ways. But when you get over that hump, that bump, and you start learning what technology is all about, that's the point in which everything changes and they realize that technology is actually better for them.
Yeah, you're so spot on that. I'm gonna say 100%. I got the 100% right there. I'm gonna leave it with this because we're almost at the end of the program. But I want to ask you this question because I'm really interested in hearing how you answer, how you respond. When Makram, when a lot of people say, what keeps you up at night, but I always feel like the better question is what gets you up in the morning? And that's the question I want to ask you, Makram, is like, what gets you up in the morning? What makes you say, I'm going to attack this day and I'm going to make it such an uber success? Tell me what that looks like for you.
I love this question. I always think about this because I used to not be motivated to do things, and then I'm like, wait, why am I not motivated? And then I thought of the why I want to go and cause in the world, and I realized I want to revolutionize industries. I want to be the big change in the world. So currently,
Yeah.
I'm the founder of two companies, so DareDev and another company, and both companies are focused primarily on let's make a huge wave and let's change the status quo. Let's completely demolish the way things are going right now, and let's rebuild it. Let's make it better than it was before. Let's change the way people look at things. And
Yeah.
so that's what really gets me up, is like, it's not about the money. It's about making the world a better place and just changing the way the world works.
Yeah, I love that answer so much. I mean, well, Makram, I'm going to roll your information here. I'm with Makram Jreissat. He is the co-founder of DareDev. I call him a one to watch under 30, right? I mean, he is under 30 years old, and he's just blowing it out of the water, everyone. I mean, you got to meet this guy. So he's a business connector, software developer, and marketer. You can reach him at makramjreissat@gmail.com or call him at 602-535-6137. And what other ways can we get a hold of you, Mac?
Well, I have my website, DareDev.com. You can connect with me through there. I have a LinkedIn, LinkedIn.com/in/Makram-Jreissat. And just connect with me. I always love to chat. If you just want to schedule a one-on-one really quick, get to know each other. Even if you don't think that tech is right for you, you don't think you want a website, you don't want an app, it's fine. We'll just get to know each other. We'll have a great conversation.
Absolutely, because I always look at it this way. Even if you don't need it, someone close to you probably does.
Right.
Oh, my goodness, Mac. Thank you so much for being on the show today. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you having me.
Well, thank you, everyone that was on the show today, Emmy and Mac. We are here each Thursday from 2:30 to 3:30, and that's PDT time. That's the Pacific time. I want to thank my guests so much, and for you, the listener, for being here today. If you'd like to reach out to be on the show, you can PM me or just give me an email to robert@networktogether.net. Let's talk. Let's get you on the show, and let's bring out some sunshine. So with that said, again, we're here each Thursday from 2:30 to 3:30. I look forward to seeing each and every one of you next week. Make it a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.
You've been watching the iEntrepreneur Show, a production of the iEntrepreneur Radio Network, with host Robert W. Jones. Join Robert each week as he visits with new and exciting guests who inspire, teach, and mentor entrepreneurs worldwide. Follow Robert each Thursday at 1:30 p.m. Pacific, 4:30 p.m. Eastern, and 8:30 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time.